Birds and people are living together in seemingly perfect harmony, until one day a young man catches fire. This is Phoenix.
Good evening, welcome to the double Game Week 36 knee-jerk stream. We're also obviously going to react to all the action from Game Week 35 so far, where there's basically been zero action for most people's teams. And yeah, I know there's 3 games to go tomorrow, but only one of them really impacts it at FPL, which is the Brighton versus Everton game, where a lot of us have obviously got a triple up. So I thought I would just do the knee-jerk on Sunday as normal. We'll start talking about Game Week 36. Basically, last week was all about the 1 week punt on Man City, and in the end, we all just waited until 20 minutes before the deadline to get the team sheet. This week, all the chat's going to be about Wilson and Isak. And ultimately, we're probably just going to wait for the team sheets 20 minutes before the deadline. So I'm not sure there's going to be a huge amount else to talk about this week, but let's see. Needs a huge copium after that. Yeah, fair play to West Ham. Man United were dreadful. And I know sometimes it's easy to say that the other team was dreadful and not give any credit to West Ham. West Ham were also really good, but I thought Man United were also a bit pathetic. I was just thinking then, just before I came on live, was there at any point in that game where Man United were playing well? I don't think so. Antonio looks back to the Antonio of old. Excellent. Yeah, exciting week. Anyway, let's get back to FPL. Man United are really pushing top 4 as well. It is getting a bit worrying. I said a long time ago I thought that Liverpool would get top 4. Now, I've got to be honest, a few weeks ago I probably would have been a bit worried about saying that, but now Newcastle, Man United in trouble. Newcastle still got to play Brighton and Chelsea. Now, I know we're all going to laugh at Chelsea, but it's an away game. You don't want to go away to Chelsea last day of the season needing a win to secure top 4. So, yeah, not great. Not great whatsoever. Anyway, let's talk about FPL, because it saves me having to talk about Man United. Do you know what, Ederson, honestly, it's not funny now. It's just frustrating. But also, I feel like Ederson just lives in everyone's head rent-free. Like, people are just waiting for him to fail, which pretty much, I know it's funny, but also means they're a little bit worried about him getting a clean sheet because, you know, it's Man City, right? So, I don't know what to do with him anymore. It's just a nightmare. But it's not like anyone else is smashing it, right? Kepa and Raya both conceded again. Nothing's really said about them. And I know people are going to say, but the money's different. I get that, but it's not like I'm struggling for cash. And if you saw the tweet from Big Man Bakar, I cannot tell you how unlucky Ederson has been. I'm not even saying that I've not really said he's a massively better option than Raya, Kepa, etc. But he has been massively unlucky. So unlucky to not keep more clean sheets. Just in general. Like, it seems like every half chance they can see it. And I'm not saying it's all I'm not saying he's the only one that's unlucky. Some of that is obviously going to be down to him just not making enough saves. But the amount of chances Man City concede are so low. The amount of clean sheets they've got is a bit of a joke. But what can I do? I tweeted the story, right? So I didn't watch the whole. I watched the first half of Man City, and I decided not to watch the second half. So I took the dog for a walk, and we stopped off at a pub to get a pint. It was quite hot, so we got her some water. We got her in the shade. We got a pint outside. And I checked my team, so I'm checking the team. Okay, Ederson's got a clean sheet, 83 minutes gone. That's what the FPL site said. I swipe up, I click the Twitter app, boom. Gundogan's missed a penalty, Rodrigo's scored. I'm like, what? It's just, I don't know. It's just annoying. At least Ederson was back in the team, I guess. The good thing is, I'm playing Kepa this week against Nottingham Forest at home, and I'm going to bench Ederson. In Game Week 37, I will probably play Ederson, but a small part of me might be worried about Ortega. So, yeah, we'll talk about that team for next week in a minute. I don't know if there's anything else to talk about my team for last week. We've done Ederson now. I get it. Ederson's rubbish. I do genuinely believe, though, right? And again, I'm not saying Ederson is miles better than everyone else, but I genuinely believe the situation that's going on with Ederson right now is exactly the same as Salah earlier on in the season, where the numbers tell me Man City should be getting a few more clean sheets, but it's just not happening. And it will turn around. The problem is, there's only 3 game weeks left. So when it turns around, it could be the 2023-24 season. So we might not actually get any Ederson clean sheets for the rest of the year. Yeah, Isak hit. Well, we can talk about Newcastle. I think that's going to be the topic of conversation for the whole week. But yeah, Isak hit the post. He also nearly had an assist if it wasn't for a great block by Xhaka. I actually don't. Now, I don't want to take anything away from Arsenal. They were really good today, right? That was a hostile atmosphere. Newcastle, I'm not sure how they didn't get more bookings. I think Xhaka in particular really stepped up. Jesus did so much defensive work. But in terms of actual chances, I thought it was kind of even. Say the line, Ederson's been unlucky. I mean, I don't know what StatsBomb and Opta say, but on FootMob, is it FotMob? FotMob, I guess. Like 0.23 XG for that Leeds chance. It just is what it is. But yeah, I actually thought Newcastle. I think positioning on the pitch, Wilson looked better, and obviously he'll probably take penalties ahead of Isak. But Isak was the one that hit the post, and Isak was the one that created the chance as well. So if I had to pick right now, right? So if you say to me, Andy, we're not going to get any team news before, we're not going to get the lineup before the deadline, I still think Isak's the one to buy over Wilson. I really do. Now, obviously you can have both, not an issue. But if you're only buying Isak or Wilson, surely Isak's the answer, is it not? Unsubscribe, how's it going? Got Isak and Trippier. Who would you put in as third Newcastle? I mean, I'd probably just go for Wilson if you've got an easy route to him. I honestly think it depends what your transfer is. If you can go from like a Watkins to a Wilson in one move, I'd probably just do that. If you've got a Man City midfielder that might not play, you could take a punt on their midfield. The only problem is, I'm assuming Murphy will start again, but St. Maximin's also back now as well for the left-hand side, so it might be tricky to know exactly who's going to start. No way Botman will start next game. Why won't he start next game? He didn't get injured, did he? What I will say is, I think it's quite hard to know what's going to happen with Wilson and Isak because it was Arsenal, right? So you can't really say that, well, them playing together didn't work that well because it worked very well against Southampton at half-time the week before. Yeah, Willock could be an option as well. Honestly, I think there's better midfielders than going for Newcastle mids, though. Why Isak? Wilson's surely more dangerous if he plays. That's the... Yeah, the thing is, I think Isak is the number one striker there right now. I think he is, and it's not even that I think he is. I think it's obvious that he is. That's Wilson's third start in 10 games, and something that I missed that a lot of people talked about before the deadline was Sean Longstaff being out meant that there were, and Eddie Howe said this before the game. He said something like, the performances. I can't remember I actually tweeted it. Let me just read out exactly what it was. Don't want to paraphrase, so I literally tweeted about it. Eddie Howe, when he was talking about Isak and Wilson together, he said, I felt it was the right time with how both players had performed. Sean Longstaff's injury creates a gap for us. So if Longstaff's back for the weekend, it's probably just going to be one of them starting. And if I've got a bit of money on who that is, it's Isak, who started like 8 of the last 10. So I unless we get news they're both starting, I don't see how you buy Wilson. What I will say is though, the fixtures for Newcastle are a little bit weird because so you've got 6 days until the Leeds game, so both of them could be fit for that. They may well play together again, right? That's a possibility. But if it's just going to be one of them, presumably it's Isak. Is he really going to save Isak all the way until Thursday? I don't think so. So I feel like Isak definitely plays. And then look, if Isak can't play on Thursday, Saturday to Thursday is a long time. So I feel like Isak's got a good chance of starting twice. I guess the Monday game is then a bit trickier. Maybe Wilson gets one start plus Leicester. And maybe Isak gets Leeds and Brighton. I don't know. But I think if I'm only having... today's match basically made me quite happy to have Isak, if I'm honest. So we'll see. We'll see. If Longstaff's back, then it's going to be Longstaff, Bruno Guimaraes, and who's the other one in midfield? Why can't I remember who it is? Oh, Willock. And then it's going to be Murphy on the right, Isak up front, and then Joe Linton on the left, probably. And St. Maximin's back there for now as well. Wilson rested 20 minutes. It was more like 13. See, this is the thing. You can frame it both ways, right? Well, Wilson went off first, so he's more rested. But I would look at it and say, well, Wilson went off when they needed a goal and they only wanted to play with one striker. Who did he take off? Isak or Wilson? He took off Wilson. Is that really a good thing? You need a goal and you only want to play with one striker, so you take Wilson off. Surely that's not a good thing, right? I don't know. I'm fully aware that you can be quite biased when you already own a player. But I think even if you look at it objectively, I don't see how Isak's not the stronger of the two. And also, I also kind of don't want to have to sell my Newcastle striker in game week 37 because Leicester at home is a really good fixture. So I'm hoping Isak gets like at least 2 starts in the next 3. I don't know. Anyway, the thing is, this is going to be such a pointless conversation because we'll probably get the team sheet at the weekend. Like, if Isak doesn't start against Leeds and Wilson does, then I'll switch. I will switch probably, but yeah. Wilson's the better option if they get the same amount of minutes, but there is literally nothing that tells us that's going to happen. There's literally nothing that tells us that. Now, you might think that, okay, Wilson's going to get reduced minutes, but his goal threat is higher, so I'm going to go for him. That's fair enough. I really don't want to talk people out of going for Wilson. If you want to go for him, you should just go for him. It's not like I think he's a bad option, but if you're asking me who is the better of the picks, if you're only going for one, like right now, with all the information we have, it's got to be Isak. I don't see how it isn't. And if you've got a slot for a second forward, then I think there's enough upside to have Isak and Wilson in your team. There's no point in looking at my team for 35. It's a load of rubbish. This is my team for next week. Now I've got double defense. I'm not going to switch that. It's too many transfers. I'd have to take a hit to get Wilson, so I'm just going to stick. I think I'm probably going to have to sell Trent this week anyway. So I could do Trent to a really cheap defender, and then Botman out, and then Greenwood to Wilson. But I just don't think it's worth a hit. I don't think it's worth a hit. Dom, please talk about the high upside risky punts for the run-in for 15 points to make up to win a competitive league. I mean, 15 points is doable without super risky punts, to be honest. I mean, you're probably looking at Man City players, but good luck. I mean, De Bruyne is someone I'd really look at. I think he especially when Arsenal won today, like that keeps the title race alive. Pep might be a little bit less sure about rotating players against Everton away. I don't know if there's a huge amount of like super risky punts though. I mean, you could start looking at getting Arsenal mids back in. They're not highly owned. I'm trying to think about who's got good The problem is you've got double game weeks, right? So it's very hard to bet against them. If I could do it for free, if I could swap so if I had enough money to do Botman to Wilson, would I do it? I don't, like, there is still some hesitation, to be honest. So that kind of tells me that I maybe wouldn't. And the reason here's the thing for me, right? And this is why I'm hesitant to do it, is because it takes 2 transfers. So even if I could do it for free, I've got to use both of my transfers to get no extra fixtures. I'm basically getting an attacker over a defender, which could absolutely work out. And then in game week 37, I've got to get my third City player. So I go into game week 38 with only 1 transfer again, which is kind of what I talked about last week with the 1 week Man City pump. So I don't know if I would bother. Even if I could do it for free with just 2 transfers. Like, if Wilson only starts 1 game and comes on in the other one, which is probably likely, right? How many more points do I think he scores than Botman? Maybe enough, maybe, to warrant the extra transfer. Okay, so yeah, before everyone panics about the fact that I've just said I might sell Trent Alexander-Arnold, look at my team, right? Okay, so I won't transfer out any of my Newcastle or Brighton players unless they're injured, okay? So I know other people might not want to play Botman. I don't care. It's a double game week. I'm going to play him. So I can't sell Botman or Trippier or Isak. They've all got a double game week. I can't sell Estepinian, Mitoma or March. They've all got a double game week. Rashford and Fernandes have double game weeks in 37. So does Haaland. So that only... And Shaw also has a double game week. I've got 0.5 million in the bank. So there's nothing I can do with Greenwood. So the only 4 players that I would even look at to use a transfer on are Salah, Trent, Kepa and Ederson. And with Kepa and Ederson, they've also got double game weeks in 37. Now, if I was fully happy that Ederson was definitely going to start both, then maybe I could do a Kepa downgrade and just get some money in. But otherwise, it's Salah or Trent to prepare for the double in 37. I got to be honest, I don't even like doing that because if I do Trent to Diaz, for example, I mean, I'm not really bothered about having double City defence instead of attack in 37, but I don't really want to have to commit to that before I've seen City play Everton and Real Madrid again. So really, I want to go into game week 37 with this team and 3 transfers, but obviously I can't do that. So I'm kind of pushed into a very tricky position. There is a part of me, a very small part of me, it has to be said, that is tempted just to do Ederson to Everson or Forster, probably. Because I'm playing Kepa this week anyway, and I can also play Kepa for the double in 37. But I just know what's going to happen as soon as I get rid of Ederson. I don't want to burn a transfer, though. I don't really want to have to burn a transfer. I could do it, I guess. It just doesn't feel right to do that so close to the end. The issue is the way the fixtures fall. Because in 37, I would like to do Trippier to Diaz instead of having to get rid of Trent. But obviously, I can't get rid of Trippier this week because he's got a double. I got to be honest, my move will probably be Trent to Diaz. The only other thing I will consider with Trent is Trent to a really cheap defender. One, not a dud, one that will play. Maybe one with a good fixture in 38, just in case I need them with rotation. And then leave my options open for 37, so I can either do Trippier to a Man City defender, or I can do Salah to De Bruyne, or any City midfielder. But realistically, I'm probably just going to keep Salah the whole way through. So it's a bit weird. If I did Trent to Diaz, I would just bench Diaz. Honestly, I don't need him I don't need whichever player I bring in for Trent in 36. I don't need. I'm going to play Estepinian, Trippier, and Botman no matter what. Am I confident Diaz will play enough? Well, look, by the time we get to 37, Champions League is done for Man City until, either they're out or they're in the final, right? So, I think Diaz would then play, right? The title was still fully on. Like, Arsenal winning today was huge. If Arsenal had lost today, then obviously Man City wouldn't assume they've won it, but it would be a lot closer. Arsenal winning, that's a tough game to go away to Newcastle. So yeah, I think they'll mostly play full strength. I know they rotated a lot of leads, but I don't know if I don't see that happening away to Everton as much. There'll be a bit of rotation probably, and a lot will depend on how the first leg goes as well. So we'll have to wait and see that before we talk too much about it. But yeah, what do I think about playing Trent over Estepinian? I think there's some merit there. Like the way Trent has been playing in this new role. I mean, he's always been attacking. Don't get me wrong. We've seen how good he can be from right back as well, but he looks really good. I don't want to sell him. I have to say that. And if it was a home game, I'd be a bit more interested. But he also has an away game against a team that often finds a way to score a goal. So, don't get me wrong. I don't necessarily think that Estepinian will keep a clean sheet in either game. But I don't feel like Trent is so good that I would play him over Estepinian. It's probably quite close because Leicester are, as much as I think Leicester can score against Liverpool, they are definitely the weakest team out of Leicester, Arsenal, and Newcastle. But I don't know. And also, it's worth pointing out, right? If I just show you this. So if I just show you this, let me just bring this up, right? So let's say that I just... Oh, hang on. This is on FPL. Oh, that actually works pretty well. But let me put this one up instead. Yeah, okay. So this is on FPL.team, right? Transfer planner. So let's say I do this. Let's say I burn the transfer, okay? This is my team and I decide, no, do you know what? I don't want to sell Trent. I'll just burn the transfer. Well, we get to game week 37, and then because of all the double game weeks, right, for Estupinian, for Luke Shaw, and I will probably, let's just say I even do Trippier to Diaz, right? And let's say I get that third City player in. Well, then I'm still benching Trent because everyone else has got a double game week. I mean, I could play Trent over Isak if I wanted to, I guess. I guess that's an option. But I don't know if that's like of huge importance. If Isak starts that Leicester game, I'm pretty happy with him, right? So, I just got felt like my muscle twinge there. Or something twinge. I don't know what that was. Then I don't know what I was saying. Yeah, I've still probably got a bench in. Obviously, for game week 38, it would be nice to have him for Southampton away. Like it really would, but I feel like it's better to make the move. So that's the way I'm kind of currently leaning. It's tough though. I almost want something to happen so that I don't have to sell him. Brighton and Chelsea could upset City. City had a narrow escape against Fulham and Leeds. Yeah. But essentially in 37, it's Diaz. Let's say I go for the Man City defender. It's Diaz and Salah, or it's Trent and De Bruyne. Now, you might say that Trent and De Bruyne is possibly the better way around to do it. I wouldn't necessarily disagree. But I also, because I'm playing Salah this week and I can bench Trent, it just makes more sense to sell Trent, right? I don't want to sell Salah before Leicester away. So it's kind of, it's super tricky. It's super tricky. What's the percentage chance of getting Newcastle early team news in 36? I mean, fairly high, right? It's the first game of the week, so if you're going to get it, it's that kind of game. I've been drinking water. It's not cramp, I don't think. Rashford has fell off too much to keep. Nah. I mean, he hasn't done well recently, but it's Wolves at home, then a double game week. One of the games is Bournemouth away, then Chelsea at home. I'm keeping my Man United players. I'm kind of made me bed and I'm sleeping in it. Why not Stones over Diaz? Maybe a little bit more goal threat possibly. But I think Diaz's minutes are looking pretty good over Stones. I don't know. I could be talked into going Stones. Let's just say it's a Man City defender. We won't worry about who it is right now. Am I getting a green arrow this week? I'm currently on a red arrow. Very, 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 very tiny red arrow. I guess now it just depends on March versus McAllister, really. And I guess Steele versus Estupinian, etc. There's not a huge amount of other games tomorrow with lots of FPL interest. Not many people have got Leicester players or Forest or Southampton. So it really comes down to what Brighton do. So if March and Estupinian do really well versus Steele and McAllister, maybe. I got a feeling this will be a red arrow, though, because I've got no players in the other games. I think all these... I don't know what effective ownership the Brighton defence is on, but March is 54%. Matoma even gets me slight points as well. But I think this could be the week I get a red. Yeah. Fulham as well for Man United final day just to hold for the final 3 weeks. Yeah, exactly. Like Harry says, I won't be getting rid of Rashford, Fernandes, I'm sure, without injuries. It's boring. Don't get me wrong. I spoke about this on team selection, right? I fully get why people are not losing interest, but they're just bored with the final few weeks. But that's how the double game weeks are set up, and I just don't see the point in really using transfers on those players. Man United were not great today whatsoever, but Wolves at home, Bournemouth away, and Fulham at home, plus an extra bonus fixture against Chelsea at home. I mean, it sounds pretty good. 3 of the last 4 for Man United are at home. That will definitely help. Rashford, Fernandes and Shaw are about as nailed on as you're going to get for any player. I'm just going to keep them. If you did want to get both Isak and Wilson, what would your transfers be? I'd have to get rid of Trent, I think. I'd have to do something like Botman, Trent and Greenwood. I wouldn't sell Haaland, obviously. So Wilson in. So I'd have 9.4 million for these two players. I mean, I've got to be honest, I haven't really given cheap defenders much thought. I don't know who. I don't know. Haven't Crystal Palace got a pretty good game last day of the season? Yeah, Forest at home. So I might get like a Palace defender, I guess. And then someone else for 4.9. 4.9 sounds like there could be someone decent. I don't really know who, though. Oh, Ben White's 5. That's a bit annoying. Ben White would have been perfect. Yeah, Totti, but I think with Wolves, like they haven't really got any fixtures I would want to play him in. Man United away, Everton at home, Arsenal away. Basically, I'd want players for the last day, really. For the last day of the season. And also, it would have to be less than 4.9 because I would still need a route to get another Man City defender in. Oh, Kiwior. Yeah, I'd always be a bit worried about. Anyway, what you can say is this is not a good route for me whatsoever. I don't think. I really don't think it's a good route. I'm not going to do it. If Wilson starts against Leeds, maybe I'll consider it. Is it? It's not Kiwior, is it? That's definitely not going to be how you pronounce it. It's another one I'm going to have to learn. But Holding could get a game at some point. I don't know. I guess they just got a clean sheet against Newcastle. Maybe he'll keep it. Yeah, possibility. Kiwior. Yeah, Pedro Porro. But again, it's an away game against Leeds last day of the season. Like if Leeds need to stay up, I'm not sure that's the kind of game I want to play a Spurs defender in. If they had like a good home game, maybe. It feels too risky. Honestly, I just don't see a huge benefit for taking a hit to do Botman to Wilson. Like I get why people want to get Wilson in, right? He's been brilliant, and I wouldn't really worry about the Arsenal game. That was always going to be a tough game. I just don't see. It's not going to happen. I don't think. I'm kind of okay with having the double defense, and I know people will hate double defense now because they just haven't been keeping clean sheets. But I think it's okay. I mean, it's an away game against Leeds and a home game against a very good attacking Brighton. Is there a chance at one clean sheet? It's probably quite low, but I've got these players now. I've got to keep them. Trippier's due an assist anyway. Let's just hope Botman can chip in with something. Would I bench any Brighton players in their double game week 36? I won't be, personally. I can't imagine there's too many players you'd play ahead of them. Everton home to Bournemouth last game, Patterson or Tarkovsky. Yeah, that could be an option. But again, it's just... I don't think taking a hit to get in a Crystal Palace and Everton defender for the final game week is really a play, to be honest. And if everyone's fit for Newcastle, I think there's a chance Wilson doesn't even start anyway. So, we'll see. Any value in buying Steele instead of Estupiñán to be able to play Trent? Yeah, I thought about that. I guess it depends on your team setup. But again, it's just two transfers that for my team, I don't think is worth it. But that is an option, right? Ederson to Steele and then Estupiñán to a Man City defender. I mean, potentially, right? So you could do it like this. Let me bring this up. So I could use, let's say I use two transfers this week. I do Steele in and Estupiñán out for, let's just say it's Diaz, right? So I've still got my 3 Brighton, I've used my 2 free transfers. And I do Diaz on the bench. Botman would... No, I'd still have to bench... Oh, no. Bench Shaw. I mean, is Trent even that... Trent probably is better than Shaw. So let's just say I do that, right? And then in game week 37, obviously Steele's got the double anyway. So Diaz comes in for Botman. Trippier gets benched for Shaw. And I could just roll in game week 37. Although I still wouldn't have 3 Man City, though. So I'm still stuck either getting rid of Trent for 37 or getting rid of Salah. I could just roll. but I probably wouldn't want to. So I think, I don't know. I'm probably just going to keep what I've got for the most part. If you had Isak, Share, and Trippier, would you bother trying to get Wilson for -4? I mean, I'm probably not even going to do it when I own Botman. And Share's better than Botman. Best FPL manager in the world, and why is it Jan? It's absolutely Jan. I mean, he's got Kane and Forster. Sell Fernandes to a City mid. But he's got a double as well. By the way, Man United hit the post twice today from Fernandes assists. Am I not tempted with March over Isak for captain? I don't think so, because I think... I don't know. If Isak only gets 1 star, I do think there is a case to be made for a Brighton midfielder as captain, potentially. But if he's definitely going to get Leeds and then some good minutes against Brighton, I feel like I just go Isak, right? On penalties, playing as the striker. It's... I don't know. I think we'll spend the whole week overlooking Brighton midfielders, and they'll probably end up doing really well. But they are facing 2 pretty good defences. Bruno or Rashford for next week? Bruno's been looking better. I think I'd still go... Well, I think I'd still go Rashford for now. I know he's not been as good recently, but I'd still go Rashford, I think. I still think he's much more likely to get you a goal than Fernandes outside of penalties. People sleeping on Haaland captain. Ah, come on. We've got 3 weeks to go. 2 of them are double game weeks. Can't be captain in Haaland. Can't be captain in Haaland. Obviously, he could smash it against Everton, right? He should have got a higher score against Leeds, but I'm not captaining a single game week player, even Haaland. You will play Shaw over Estepinian. Nice, nice. Could work out. Could work out. I mean, Trent or Shaw over Estepinian could work out, but if you've been watching the videos for a while, you'll know that I'm not going to give up a double game weeker. Even one with 2 difficult fixtures. Also, Estepinian, like, he's surely got a goal in him at some point. Some of the runs he makes in the box, so good. So good. Give FPL Harry a shout. He's the only content creator with a decent overall rank. Alright, Jesus. What's wrong with 40k? What rank are you, Luke? Best Watkins replacement if you already have Isak and triple Newcastle. Keep Watkins, maybe. Who have Villa got this week? They've got Spurs, right, at home. Maybe just keep Watkins. By the way, no one's really mentioned that Jota started after I was sure after I was sure he was going to get benched. I'd maybe just keep Watkins. Like, I'm looking at the fixtures for this week. I don't think there are really any good strikers to bring in. Tony against West Ham at home? Maybe. But I don't think the Brentford fixtures are great after that. In 37, they've got Spurs away. Last day of the season, it's Man City at home. Yeah, maybe I'd either stick to Watkins or maybe buy Tony, but I don't think that's a move I'd make. I'd rather roll the transfer. Jota and Wilson likely getting benched. So interestingly, someone DM'd me a team quite early this morning that had Isak playing up front on his own, and then they messaged later and said Longstaff was fit yesterday but pulled himself out today. I don't know how true that is. I've never heard from that person before. But if that is true, then maybe Wilson was close to not starting. Probably not though. Tony goal on and off means he scores in 36 and 38. Boom, there you go. Oh, you're 180k, Luke. Oh, are you now? 180k. Well, do you know what? Fair play for replying, because a lot of people would have just been out. I'll take a bet with you for 1k that I'll beat you next season. 1k? Who, by the way, who's the person that bet with me that Grealish would outscore Fernandes? Because I said Fernandes, and I think it must be quite close. Shame Fernandes couldn't make it count today when Grealish was benched. And no, you don't get the points for your sub. That just counts as a big fat 0. It's one of the reasons Fernandes is better, because he's nailed on. Joe Linton as a punt. I just think for most people, they've got midfielders where they shouldn't be buying Newcastle midfielders. But like, if you've got someone that's not going to start, then, or you're not sure about, then sure, do it. Yeah, I still like Bruno. I'm happy enough with him. Yeah, so I think we could probably end the stream there, couldn't we? Because basically, just get Isak and captain him, probably. I've just done the plan, and you're right. Trent on the bench until you cut off the sentence. It's got to be 38, right? Yeah, I think Trent to a City defender probably makes the most sense. Like I said earlier, I really don't like doing that before they play Everton and Real Madrid. Because if that defender gets injured, it's just super annoying. Obviously, it can happen to anyone I bring in, but that'd be even worse. Especially when there's a week between deadlines at the moment. It's going to feel like forever. I'm really thinking of starting Ederson over Steele next week due to fixtures. Well, in 37? I don't think that's... I don't think that's the worst call, to be honest. Not this week, obviously. Presumably Grealish will start in 36. Yeah, I don't think they're going to rotate quite as much. But do you know what I mean? If the Real Madrid game's tight and Grealish plays that, then Foden could just play again against Everton, and Grealish saving Grealish until the second leg against Real Madrid. I mean, it could happen. As a Leicester season ticket holder that will be out that Liverpool game, Madness bench and Trent, he got a 20 plus Hall versus not long ago. I know he did, but and I sold him that week that he got 24 points. But yeah, I'm going to bench Trent. Who else is there to bench, really? Like, the only options to play Trent ahead of are Salah, Rashford and Fernandes. That's it for me. There's no one else I want to bench for him. Would I be putting Ederson on the wall? Maybe if he gets like a 15 plus pointer in double game week 37. Yash, catch you later on. There's no way I'm playing Trent ahead of Bruno. Not happening. Yeah, hence I would either message Harry rather than just putting unsubstantiated stuff in this chat, to be honest. The best 3 Newcastle players for this game week. I mean, it's probably 3. Well, I guess you could include Pope, maybe. But I guess if you want outfield players, it's 3 of Isak, Wilson, Trippier and Schär. And if Wilson doesn't start against Leeds, then it's Schär, Trippier and Isak for me. I have thought about a wall of shame before. I have thought about that. And Ederson would definitely be on there. I'm not going to play Trent over a double game week. It's just not my style. It's a little bit of a worry. I think sometimes you bench players and people think you think they're rubbish. I absolutely don't. I don't want to sell Trent. I don't want to bench him. But needs must. When do Liverpool play, by the way? Oh, they don't play until the Monday. Oh, so I'm going to have to watch. Botman and Trippier lose their clean sheet first game of the week. And then Brighton lose theirs to Arsenal on Sunday evening, knowing that Trent's going to come in with a goal and assist and a clean sheet against Leicester. That'll be annoying. I might just sell him. It might be better to sell him than bench him. Yeah, but think about this, right? Everyone's saying, oh, Trent can do this, he can get 12, 15 points. Weren't people all saying that about Man City attackers versus Leeds? Alvarez, blank. De Bruyne, blank. Foden, blank. Haaland, blank. Who do I say? De Bruyne, Foden. Grealish didn't even play. That doesn't count. So, I mean, Mahrez did really well, and Gundogan did really well. I mean, Liverpool could get a clean sheet, and Trent could come off in the 59th minute. Wouldn't you say that Trent's upside is higher than Estepinian? In a single game shootout, yeah, but Estepinian's got 2 fixtures, so I'm going to probably go with him. Am I starting Kepa? Yeah. Oh my god. Excuse me. This is the old start time for the stream, but I used to start the streams at 9. Amron's not even nailed on to start, so no interest, to be honest. Yeah, Mahrez was a nice pump. Everyone else just didn't happen. I've got 2 transfers this week for free for 2 Newcastle players. You've got none. I would get Isak and Trippier. I think they're the top 2. Yeah, I know. Trippier, yeah, but like things can happen, right? That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying that Trent's very likely to be subbed off. I'm just saying it could happen, right? Just like Leeds could score against Man City. My point is, people always do this, right? Because they don't want to bench Trent, then you start, he could easily get a 15-pointer. Of course he could. Or he could just get a clean sheet and no attacking returns and just come away with 6 or 7 points. Or alternatively, he gets no attacking returns and loses the clean sheet. And Liverpool win 3-1 or something like that. We always, when we don't want to bench a player, we want to talk ourselves into starting a player, we always look at what the best potential upside is and always just start ignoring what could realistically happen. John, before that Man City Leeds game, everyone was picturing a 6 or 7-0. And to be fair, if Haaland had his shooting boots on for once, it could have been. But it wasn't. And these things can happen. So I'd rather just take the gamble on 2 games for Estepinian over Trippier. And I'd rather play an attacker like Fernandes at home to Wolves than Trent. Like it's just unfortunate that I've got a good squad this week. It's just the way it is. I'm not exactly happy about it. I mean, to make it worse, I'm probably going to sell Trippier, sell Trent this week. Now, I'm not starting Ederson. The plan was always to start Kepa this week. Would you go Grealish over Trent? Probably, yeah. The upside for Trent is higher than Bruno. I mean, what do you mean the upside is higher? You don't think Bruno is capable of like 10 plus points? Bruno could play rubbish, get 1 penalty and finish on 10 or 11 points. For Trent to do that, he's got to get 2 returns. How close do you think it is between starting Trent versus Rashford? For me, I'm not even considering starting Trent ahead of either of those two, to be honest. But like I always knew this was going to happen. When I bought Trent in 34, I knew I was going to be benching or selling him this week. So nothing's really changed my mind. You have to think of Trent as a mid. Maybe. Yeah, a defensive mid, I guess. No, that's a bit harsh. Not a defensive mid. You really don't need to tell me how good Trent is, right? Think how many weeks I had to put up with comments telling me Trent was awful. And to be fair, he wasn't as good as he's playing right now. You honestly don't need to tell me how good Trent is. I promise you I know. Promise you. But there's hard decisions to make this week, so it's just the way it is. And also, this always happens, right? Man United perform bad, so suddenly Trent's got to be played ahead of Fernandes. You know, if one of those shots that hit the post goes in, Fernandes gets an assist, maybe the game goes a little bit differently. We might not even be having this conversation. So I don't want to make a decision based on the fact Man United didn't play great today. I mean, they've not been great, like really good for maybe a little while. Like the Brighton game, it's fairly poor. Although again, they could have scored in that game. It was only 1-0 against Villa. Obviously, they lost the lead against Spurs. So not exactly playing brilliantly right now. But a home game against Wolves, I mean, that feels pretty good to me. if Bruno plays out of position. But Bruno's always playing an attacking role. Like, I don't think he's going to play left wing against Wolves. Yeah, Trent did smash Leicester, but that was like seasons ago. You can't make decisions based on that, right? Trent over Fernandes is nonsense, but Trent over Botman should... I'm not going to bench a double game weeker. It's not going to happen. Is top 10k far gone now? For me, it probably is, yeah. I don't think I'm getting top 10k. My dilemma is that I don't have Fernandes, but I do have one free transfer. I either start Trent this week and roll the transfer to get Fernandes next week. Yeah, in your case, maybe it's better off rolling, right? Like, I don't think Fernandes is must-own this week. But obviously, everyone's team's different. You don't have Fernandes. If you've got a good team that you can put out this week that includes playing Trent and you can roll the transfer, happy days. Do that. But for me, I've got Fernandes, so I'm going to play him. Would I start Ray or Kepa this week? Kepa, I don't even know what fixture Ray has got, but it can't be... Who did I say Brentford had earlier? Is it Villa? No, West Ham at home, isn't it? I'd start Kepa. Easier fixture. What City defender? I'd probably get Diaz, but not 100% on that. Wilson and Isak over Botman is better. I mean, what if Wilson doesn't start against Leeds? Do you still think Wilson's better than Botman? We can go round and round in circles. This. If you would play Trent and bench Botman, that's exactly what you should do. I'm not going to do that. Doesn't matter how many times you say it. If I only had one transfer, would I be rolling? Yeah, 100%. 100%. Why vice captain Trippier instead of a Brighton player? Yeah, I might end up doing that. I don't know. I just feel like the fact that everyone's like so far off Trippier now, like they can't keep a clean sheet. He's not getting attacking returns. It makes me feel like I should vice captain. I think he's a pretty good option still this week. I think they can get one clean sheet, and then he's got attacking potential on top of that. I don't think Trippier is the worst captain, honestly. Whether or not he's better than the Brighton midfielders, maybe not. Maybe not. Wilson should start one of the double at least, and Leicester at home. What makes you think he's going to start Leicester at home? I don't think that's... I mean, maybe he will because it's Thursday to Monday. I don't think it's guaranteed. I don't think it's guaranteed that Wilson gets 2 starts in the next 3. Don't think it's guaranteed. And also, it's a bit you can't really use that as a fair comparison because I don't have to play Botman against Leicester. I'm going to bench him. So it's only for me. It's Botman versus Wilson and a hit for the double only. Would you play Trent or Mahrez? If Mahrez is starting against Everton away, I'm definitely starting Mahrez. Do a poll, Trent or Bruno. People would just say Bruno, honestly. I think. Any chance for a match of the day to watch tonight? I'm not doing a watch long, no. We won't be streaming much longer. There we go. We got a poll. I'll be doing what I want anyway. My worry is that we get mixed starts from the Brighton mids. Yeah, maybe. The problem is we won't know which ones. Trent will outscore a double game week and we just don't know which one. Yeah, I get what you're saying, and maybe you're right. Maybe he will outscore one of the double game weekers. But you can't just bench one randomly, right? Because what if you get the wrong one? I know you're probably not saying that, but that's kind of my thinking, right? You should weigh each decision up individually. Do I think Eshpinan's better than Trent? Yes. Matoma better than Trent? Yes. Etc. Etc. A Man United bottling top 4. If Man United don't get top 4, that is way worse than Arsenal not winning the league. If Haaland's rested, does that change your game week transfers? No, I would just play Trent. If Haaland, if we get the thing is, we're not going to know for what it's worth, right? The Man City game's on Sunday, so we're not going to know the lineup. But if Haaland was benched and we knew that, I would just play 4-5-1 and just bench Haaland. But we're not going to know because that City game isn't until 2 o'clock on Sunday, so very, very unlikely we'll know that lineup. So if you're on the deadline stream asking me about who's playing for Man City, it's going to be difficult to know. Am I playing Salah in 37? Yeah, probably. You reckon Joe Linton's the third best Newcastle player this week? Yeah, there's no midfield space. That's the problem. And that often happens in FPL. You see a lot of people like, why aren't you going for this player, etc. Sometimes it's just the slots they fill. Like for everyone right now, it's much easier to get an Isak or a Wilson than it is to get a Newcastle midfielder. Thoughts on Chelsea getting 40 plus points? I just want to congratulate Frank Lampard. What's that? Is that like his second win in 20 games or something? What are they on now? 42 points. Decent. 2 points ahead of Crystal Palace with a game in hand as well. Will I do a free hit video? Probably. No, not this week, I'd say. No, if I do Trent to Diaz, I'll bench Diaz. If you had Mahrez, Haaland, Alvarez, would you bench Mahrez, Alvarez, presuming their bench, or start Trent Shaw? I think if Mahrez gets benched against Real Madrid, which he probably will, I think there's a good chance he starts Everton. I'd probably bench Alvarez. I can't imagine Alvarez starts again. I know Pep said he might have to find a way to get Haaland, Alvarez, De Bruyne in the same team. Then I said I don't think it's actually going to happen. Then it did happen, but I'm not sure it's going to keep happening. Could be wrong, but I don't think it's going to keep happening. What to do with Mac 10? Just keep him. So the poll's quite close. Bruno 57, Trent 43. What United team did I first start supporting? Newcastle United. Would I take Bruno out to get Wilson in? Like Bruno Fernandes? Not a chance. Not a chance. Who do you bench, Dunk or Van Dijk? I mean, I'm playing Estupiñán ahead of Trent, so I would definitely play Dunk ahead of Van Dijk. Was Trent worth the hit? I think overall he probably was, just about. Not a huge amount in it, though. I was always going to take a hit anyway, so I'm not really worried. And he was definitely worth... So Trent was definitely worth the extra 4 points over Diaz and Robertson. Whether or not he was worth a -8 in total, maybe not. But I was always doing a -4 anyway. So for me, it was just 4 extra points. I'm glad I did it. I'm not going to worry too much after that. Yeah, don't get me wrong. Like, committing to... Like, I've already said this a few times now, right? So we might actually shut the stream off soon. So I feel like I'm just repeating myself. But... Like, I don't like the idea of doing Trippier to the Man City defender this week, but needs must, really. Again, if this is the team, Trent to Diaz for 36, bench him, right? Probably actually put him behind Luke Shaw. And then in 37, I'd have my triple up. So this would be my team, right? So I'd have 2 single game weekers, which would be Salah and Isak. And I'd also have 2 transfers in 37, by the way, and not much to do with them. So I would probably do Trippier down to a cheap defender. Maybe actually Tarkowski's not a bad shout because he's only 4.1 and he's got a good fixture in 38. So I've still got 2 bench players. And then I go into 38 with this team and 2 free transfers. Maybe that's the way to play it. What I would do this week, I don't know. But I guess I'm happy enough with Haaland, Salah, the 2 Man United players. Shaw, it's probably okay. So I'd probably try and get an Arsenal attacker or 2 in here. That would probably be my last few moves. Like I could do Isak to 10.6. Like I could even almost get Kane back. If I took Ederson out to a 4.6 million goalkeeper, maybe... Don't know. Maybe whoever's playing in goal for Palace at the time, I could just do something like that. But then that relies on still playing Mitoma and March, and I'm not 100% sure about that. So I'd have Fernandes, Kane, Salah, and Haaland. There's probably more interesting things to do, like with I could get Arsenal players in here, for example. So Jesus could come in for Isak. I still have 2.5 million, so I could do like March to Odegaard, something like that. So I think Trent to a City defender, and I'd actually maybe play Tarkowski ahead. I don't know. We'll see what relegation and stuff's like, but I could do something like that and get 2 Arsenal players in. Final day. There's loads of different ways to do it anyway. But basically, the most interesting part of the season is in 2 game weeks' time. Nick, Botman and Bruno to Lindelof and Joe Linton would improve your team. No. No chance. No chance. Botman and Bruno to Lindelof and Joe Linton. Not a chance. Free up funds and you can bench Lindelof this week for Trent. So basically I'm using 2 transfers to get Joe Linton in instead of Bruno. So basically I'm using 2 transfers to get Trent and Joe Linton instead of Botman and Bruno. No chance. No chance. Never happening. And also, what am I freeing up the funds for, you know? Like, I'm up for freeing up funds, but not in that way, I don't think. Would you not rather do Trent to a cheap defender than 37 Salah to Mahrez, Isak to Kane? Yeah, that is another way around of doing it, yeah. Joe Linton's got to score a hat-trick now, by the way. Ray or Ederson this week? I'd probably play Ray, I think. Yeah, Arsenal versus Newcastle was a really good game. Really good game. I agree. Right, I think I'm going to leave it there. Thank you very much for joining me. If you've enjoyed the stream, make sure to give it a like. If you've enjoyed the talk about benching Trent and which Newcastle forward to go for, give the stream a like. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't already as well. I won't be back tomorrow. I'm going to take the day off, but I'll be back on Tuesday for videos. And yeah, I'll see you then. That's all I've got to say. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday. And I'll catch you again soon.